It's a great petition. Electronic surveillance is being abused by our federal government to torture and poison US citizens over an extended period of time, typically years. This long-term targeted overexposure to harmful electromagnetic radiation frequencies, RF, microwaves, infrared, X-ray, etc., is known to increase the risks of cancers. The military itself leveled it up to a #1 risk of cancer for their DO weapons, their rocket weapons. So that is been proven by the army itself, and the army personnel did get cancer, the ones that were the handlers of the weapons. So now they in the army they have to enter the army with informed consent when they are being tasked the weapons. So they know what it does. Anyway, it's known to increase the risks of cancers and harm the development of children. They even target children, by the way, more and more these days. Law enforcement and intelligence agencies are abusing these next generation's weapons, tools against a growing number of American citizens, well, make that global, known as targeted individuals. The targets of this horrific abuse are typically placed under 24/7, 365 days, extremely overt surveillance, which is simply a psychological warfare tactic brilliantly designed to make the target report this ongoing harassment and in turn be diagnosed with some form of mental illness, which acts as a cover to allow the continued targeting by these directed energy weapons. So it goes on, stop the testing and abuse. Well, I think we're beyond testing. They know exactly what they're doing. But hey, if there's a new gadget they want to test, and you've got the American and the global citizens to do so. So, in my opinion, we're in World War III on experiments, if you ask me, whether we are speaking of neuroscience or directed energy weapons in all its forms, or the medical dual use they abuse to get the funding for the weapons, because you need to have dual use to get funding, and you ring it with we've got a cure for amnesia or whatever mental disease, and then they give the money because it's a medical thing they'd like to explore, and then they can go on and use and abuse it on people. Without the positive, there was no ability to fund it. But it's basically we are funding with our taxpayers' money. We are funding these directed energy weapons and neuroscience being abused against us. So let that be known. The ugly thing on it is that when people speak out, the story is made so horrific on them. They experienced a horrific story as I did. They go at such great lengths to make it a horror life, that it sounds basically insane when the target or the victim tries to speak out and tries to tell what is happening to them. If you try to explain the metaverse done to you without people even reading into neuroscience, it might sound like a mentally unstable person is speaking. And if they said, well, I've been beaten up or raped in the metaverse, or well, anything horrific that you can imagine, being killed or whatnot, as a real life experience, then do not hesitate to believe these targeted individuals, for I've been there, and they can do so much horrific. They can make life like I think it was Gordy Rose said, we can make life heaven or we can make life hell. Um, and he was talking about the neuroscience, etc., and the hive mind. Well, first of all, why would we want to hand over our lives to a person we do not know that can decide whether or not your life is going to be heaven or hell? That's one step. That is surrendering all your physical sovereignty and all your rights to one person you do not know. Once you're on that watch list, um, it turns out you have no rights anymore. And if you speak out, you do have rights. It's illegal. Well, it's made legal, but it doesn't make it right. We've totally lost. They have totally lost the value of rights by just making it fit to fit a horror script. So justice is already tossed out the window in that one. But I'm sorry to see that this petition is already counting for 12 years already, and still every day more and more people get added to the list. If there even is a list, they should definitely make it transparent. Who is on the list? Why is that person on the list? And how can you get yourself off the list? There is still the normal procedure there should be of justice, that whenever a crime is done or a suspicion of a crime is done, then you're still proven innocent until proven guilty. And we should definitely get back to that, because targeted individuals are being tortured every day, like the petition says. And I've seen faces with full facial burns. I've seen people, there are horrible pictures that go around, and I do believe them because I've seen them from people that I've spoken with. Sometimes they target on a foot, and that sounds like, oh, that wouldn't be too bad. But if you target on a foot on that exact same spot for a year, every night, or perhaps every day or every second, then it'll reach the bone and it will never heal. So imagine that picture not for all too long, because you'd be having nightmares of that solely. But it's gross, and it's I've always said that even Guantanamo Bay needs to be shut down, because torture has no place in a society of this decade, one thinks. But it appears that we are going back to the dark ages, if you ask me. Like I said, we are in World War III. I think War II never ended. I think it just went underground. If you see the elites' history, then it has an awful lot to do with eugenics. It has an awful lot to do with Project Paperclip. It has an awful lot to do with CIA that started as mafia, and programs that went covert and went to, well, the rad lab, the radiation lab, and radar came out of that, and out of radar came the directed energy weapons, etc. And they have combined that with neuroscience, and now they can be complete. They go complete Nazi style 2.0. So I I suggest you do the research on the puppets that are in politics now. Many of those have family that came straight from the Nazi branch or from the eugenics branch. Yeah, Houston, we have a problem. I've seen videos from, I think, longer than 12 years, I think 30 years ago, from people that tried to expose that they were being neuroscience attacked, and that their throat was being that they were being choked, and that they had experiences in their body like something was crawling in there. And these are all neuroscience attacks. God knows what these people have been through in the years after that, but seeing that this petition is even 12 years old, and more victims, very young victims, um, are exposing the crimes against their body every day. Unheard crimes exposed, and you see the active denial in workings. And the active denial goes even further. They play deaf ear and blind eye, and the victims are being, what was the name that they have for that? Is that medical abduction? Mental abduction? Is it sectioning? Without even being an harassment for their neighbors or in their own life. They're trying to cope. And of course, if you can no longer sleep, your house will at one point look like a mess. But most targets I know do whatever they can in the time they have left that they were not targeted, etc., etc., etc. So a picture is being painted on the targets as they haven't got their things in order. Well, the moment that the neuro attacks and the directed energy weapons attacks stop, the person will be squeaky clean, traumatized, but in mental normal state. The moment the targeting leaves, and that is being said by Michael Persinger as well, the moment the cloning stops, the person will be itself again, be perfectly normal. We have all these treaties. We have all these moratoriums, on directed energy weapons, and everyone agreed at one point, even in Europe, we shouldn't do that because it's too severe. And I don't know what happened, but suddenly there was this big bang, this big boost on making deals with directed energy weapons, and now we see that practically every country is involved in the development of neuroscience in directed energy weapons, and even in sales of it. The surveillance programs are installed with remote neural monitoring, which is I think it's an EEG form that is sent out, and it can just tap into your mind and your body, and it can hear what you think. And they're being used already in smart cities. I think there was a link on the Atlantic or Forbes that I'll place it in the description box, that says that it has the thought reading in its surveillance program, and that would be a smart city surveillance system. So everywhere you go, they can tap into your mind and listen what you hear and see what you see, and if you dream, they can see what you dream even. And that goes even further, because James Giordano stated that, was it James Giordano? I think it was his, I need to look up that name, but his partner in research said that there will even be a body, a real life soldier, if you are a target, attached to your brain to harass you from the operation, the psychological warfare operation. These people are skilled in psychological abuse and terrorizing a single individual paid by your own tax dollars or euros. So it will be cloned to your brain. There's a buddy, they say, that can be cloned to your brains. So a person that is interfering with every thought you have, every feeling that you have will be manipulated. Thoughts will be, they can read and write your thoughts. They can write your thoughts, let that sink in. So instead of here's the BBC News, here's what we want you to see, you get to, here's your body in your own body, showing you what you need to see, or making you think. Making you think in literal way. So that is a scary story right there, and they just expose all that. It's all online. There's no secret there. And that's what's being done too. Targeted individuals that get the weapons, they know they are targeted individuals, but if they do it any more subtle without the weapons, you definitely have a population that doesn't even know that it is targeted. The targeted communities, the targeted countries, the targeted globe. I think we're there, and I think a lot of this crazy shit happening in this world is part of mind control already, be it propaganda, be it fear tactics or intimidation, be it subtle whispers in the night, as we know that MK Sleep does. We know that HARP can manipulate emotions, that has been long known. And we know that Wi-Fi even can manipulate emotions, etc. Then there's LiDAR, la 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 la. I think the whole world has become prison planet. Many people aren't aware of it because they do it subtle, but they can manipulate you without being fully aware of it, or they can manipulate your partner or your children. So it's no longer those who control the money control your life, or those who control the weather control your life, but now they control you. And they can put you into heaven, or they can put you into hell. And I see a problem there, because I believe in human rights, and I believe in true justice, and I do believe in activism as well. And with this, can you even be a protester without being L-redded in the face? Because that has been done already. With these weapons, supposed to make the world more safe, and they're so proud of that they can wage war now without killing people. Well, they kill, it's just not instant, and they can kill you instant, and they can kill you instantly in your own bed, and no one would even think of researching that. You'll just go as a natural death, heart attack, boom, you're gone. And it is every right, every human right, and every justice system has been abolished with the invention and makings of these weapons, and it makes it hard to think for yourself, and it makes it even harder to set things straight, to be an activist in the good way, in the good, in research even, but in actions as well. There's been a hostile takeover that the world is not aware of yet. So yeah, there's another targeted individual video. But I think I'm gonna make a whole lot more because it's a serious message. If they can use these weapons, and whether or not that is the military or the Secret Service or the local police station, then you're left. Then your whole life is in the power of people that you do not know. While you had all these rights set in place for you and me to live in full freedom. Of course, freedom is debatable, but we at least had something to fall back on from, hey, you're out of line here, I've got rights. And with these weapons, millions of people are being targeted as we speak worldwide. And they speak out even when they are being jolted, when they do, or being punished after. So if that doesn't scare you, I don't know what will, because I've had neurological attacks, and these are no joke. This is Guantanamo Bay brought into your own home, into your family, into your relationships. With the COINTEL Pro still active, be it covert globally, that makes it one Nazi state, to be honest. And where there's injustice, you need to be able to stand up against it. And with these weapons, that's going to be a little difficult if you're being shot in the head. In the cognitive warfare, they so politely state it. But they're speaking directed energy weapons shot at the brain. So 12 years and counting. I wonder how many victims. How many victims survived, and how many we lost, because it was so much violence, so much government violence on simple human beings that were just living their lives, being attacked like they were the enemy of the state. And that is a no-go for me. So I say rise. Whether or not you're going to be a target or not, I say I'm a target. And I'm glad I know, because I will not be living a lie anymore. And I know we have a lot to fight for. And there's only one way you can do that, and that is with nobility and bravery, in my opinion.